Hello, I'm Mary Arnott, your host for this episode of All About Hopkinton, the program that explores organizations and talks with people that make our town a welcoming, interesting, fun, and caring community. One of the organizations that embodies all of these qualities is the local charter of the Lions International Club. My guests are two of its members, Don Cronin and Bill Minch. Enjoy the show. Welcome, Don. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show today. We have a lot to discuss.
Okay.
Before we get into everything you want to tell us about the Lions Club, I like to start with a little bit about my guests and who they are and a little background. So, Don, would you like to go first?
Sure. Thank you, Mary. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate
You're very welcome.
On behalf of the Lions as well. Don Cronin, about a 31-year resident of Hopkinton, the town I love very much. 31 years, I'm married, live over by Lake Maspinock, two grown children. And I work full-time doing this exact same type of work. What you're doing here with taping All About Hopkinton is the same type of work that I do, only over in Holliston. It's a Holliston Cable Access Television. Mm-hmm. So I've gone from working from HCAM. I worked at HCAM here for almost a year, several years ago. So I've gone from HCAM to HCAT, so the M to the T. An active member of the Lions Club here in town. Also belong to the Friends of Hopkinton. And the two organizations they deal with each other in some respect, just in terms of how the events are played out and so forth. So, yeah, that's it.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you're here. And Bill, how about you? Would you like to share anything with us before we start?
I sure would. So I grew up in Syracuse, New York, and at college I went to Villanova University, and I went through ROTC. So after that, I served in the Navy active duty out in San Diego, and then when I left active duty, I moved back to Syracuse, New York, and then I served in the reserves for about another 9 years or so. So I moved to Hopkinton in 1992, and I raised my two children, Rachel and Rolly, and thankfully they now live back in the Boston area. They were down in Dallas and Philadelphia for a while and stuff, so it's nice to have them back home. So I've been active with the Lions Club. I've been a member for, I think I'm on my 26th year. And also I've been active, with some other organizations. And like Don, I've been active with the Friends of Hopkinton too, and stuff. And yeah, it's just a wonderful community to raise my kids, and I love living here.
I agree. And as Don said, with HCAM, we can bring on programs like this, even though he's with Holliston now, we'll forgive him, because we happen to be number one in community access television.
Yeah. Sorry.
But, and you're very used to serving, and as I understand, the motto of the Lions Club is "We Serve."
Yes, that's correct.
And I've done a little background research before we were going to talk today on its history and whatnot. But before we get into that, I'd like to find out, where would you like to start in talking about your club? You want to talk about
Yeah. Why don't you go, Don?
Well, this is a milestone year that you're having us on at a good time as we celebrate our 50th year. I think we were originally chartered in 1975.
Yeah.
And I've been a member for probably a little bit more than 10 years. But I think a lot of groups at the time, when it was thanks to Ashland Lions Club, they were instrumental in getting us going again back, say, about 10 years ago, because there was a point when the club didn't exist for a while, and I just that's a simple case of members were sort of starting to age out, getting to lift those Christmas trees and putting them on the tops of cars, and became sort of a challenge with some folks. So I hear anyway, Yeah, so that's, I just saw an ad at one point. I just got to the point in my life where I wanted to give back to this town that I enjoy living in so much. And it just so happened that I saw an ad for the Lions Club were looking to fill their some membership. So as I say, it's been about 10 years. And it's I'm happy to be with the club. I enjoy what they do. And great group of co-Lions that we work with. Everybody gets along well. And we all want to see the same thing in terms of increased membership, and because we're only a small group. I don't know, how many members?
Yeah, right now we have 12 members. And we used to, when I first started, 26 years ago, I think we had about 40 members, and of course, some couldn't really participate that much, but probably had a nucleus of probably about 22 members that were really active. And back then when I started, we used to do the pancake breakfast at the center school, but after 9/11, unfortunately, that went away. But you also might remember behind Kalel's, we used to sell the Christmas trees, and that was probably our biggest, fundraiser. I think we used to, and I've been the treasurer for a long time, we used to get about $16,000, $18,000 a year, so that was a big fundraiser. And then for a while behind Kalel's, we used to do the bottle can drive too. But as Don said, after some key people moved out of town and others got old, and so there was one year where we almost basically kind of went under the club. But thanks to Ashland, they kind of got us going again. And then, Don was one of the, return members, and him and, some of the others are very active. And we're not quite as big as before, but we're still active in a lot of nice things we do to the community. And, so it's good we're back. And, of course, we're always looking, for new members, too. And, if you want to attend some of our activities that we have, like the upcoming meat raffle on, was it November?
November 1st.
Yeah, November 1st. That way you can kind of meet some of the people and kind of find out more of what we do to support the community.
Well, you're talking about membership, so let's see if we can do something about that, increase your numbers, and let's talk about that. So how does one become a member of the Lions Club here in town?
Yeah. Well, basically, it's kind of an informal process. Of course, there's a form you fill out, basically, and then we actually have, you come to one of the meetings, and we actually have kind of like an induction ceremony, and we usually have like an official from we're part of District 33K within Massachusetts, and one of the higher ups will come and kind of go through the induction ceremony. Basically, it's pretty informal. Takes maybe about 20 minutes. And of course, the big thing some people worry about when they become a member, oh my God, I'm going to have to give up all my time. But we realize that some people, I always think that your family and your job come first. And so, whatever you can give to the club. In fact, when I started, I had 2 young kids, but I became the treasurer. So there was some stuff I could do, right at home without having to leave, and I could still, watch over the kids. But as the kids get older, I found more free time, to help out with the Lions Club. So, if you want to join, don't feel like, you're going to have to give 2 hours a week or whatever. You just do what you can to serve the club.
Is there an age restriction or anything in terms of membership? Do you have to be an adult? Can teenagers join if they wanted to get involved with certain activities, or they just could volunteer maybe for a certain activity if they wanted to?
Actually, that's a good question. I think it might be 18 or over. That's a good question. I'll have to look up. But they do have, we used to have a really, one of our former Lions, Rita Pierce, she moved out of the area, but she started really the first Leo's Club, which is basically high school students that they're kind of, I guess, junior Lions or whatever. Holliston has a really active program now. We don't, but yeah, good question. I'd have to find out about that. I think generally, people seem to join, kind of after, they get out of college or whatever, and they're kind of settled down with the job and family. But I'll have to get.
I ask is because I see a lot of Hopkinton high school students around town doing things with different organizations, and maybe we just need to promote the Lions Club a little bit. They don't necessarily maybe have to join, but if they're willing to put in a few hours for an activity, might go against their community service hours with the school or something. So I thought about that. Is there membership dues? Are there membership dues, I should say?
Yes, there is. Currently it's $80 a year, and of course some of that goes to support the administration of Lions Club International, the state zone, I guess, 33, multiple district 33, and then 33K, which is our district, which kind of is most of Middlesex County and stuff. But then we also use some of the extra money to basically, pay for maybe, shirts or something like, club memorabilia or whatever. But the one thing in being treasurer, and we became a 501c3 about 3 years ago, so we're officially 501c3 charity. Is I make sure that the money, whatever you donate, actually goes to a charitable cause. And so if we have to, let's say we have a dinner or something, we don't take it out of that money. We take it out if we have admin fees, or maybe charge a little extra money, like if we go down to Carboni's, where we've used to gone for a lot of times, for meetings, etc.
Mm-hmm. That sounds good. And I also know that women are welcome to join, which wasn't always the case with the Lions Club. So we want to put that little rumor, to bed.
Yeah.
I think it's been like 38 years or more now that women can become full members of the Lions Club. So I encourage all of our female viewers to get out and consider the Lions Club if they have some time to volunteer and do some good work around town. And I also understand there's been some very famous members of Lions Club across the country. I looked up some little facts.
Okay.
And President Gerald Ford, President Ronald Reagan, President Jimmy Carter were all members in their local chapters at one point in time.
Yeah.
And even before women could join, there was honorary women membership. Helen Keller in 1955 and Amelia Earhart in 1932. So you've got a rich history.
Yeah,
and
we sure do.
It is an international organization. I was surprised to see how many, over 1.4 or 5 million across the world, and over 200, countries and stuff have chapters. So it's a very interesting organization, and all of them use the motto, "We serve." So let's talk about some of those services that you bring to the community. You have a little list of notes or something there, Don?
Notes, I was just going to back up a little bit. I was going to say, there's also the Lions Club, Leo Club, the Leos they call, which basically the Leos are the younger version of the Lions.
As Bill mentioned.
Yeah. So they're pretty active in Holliston. I think they may have been active here in Hopkinton at one point, but
yes, but then they kind of went away, but then kind of, Holliston picked up the ball, whatever, but that's a great organization, for youth.
Well, we have somebody here in the studio who's very much in contact with the schools. Our own station director, Jim Cousins, maybe he can put a little plug in and see if there's some interest in a Leo's Club, or like I said, just having the students volunteer with you for some credits. But okay. There's several signature, so to speak, events that we do each year. The meat raffle, as Bill mentioned, this will be our fourth meat raffle, and it's coming up on Saturday, November 1st, from 3 to 5 p.m. at Cornell's Restaurant, Irish Bar and Grill in Hopkinton. And it's not a lot of work to prepare for, which is great. There's not a lot of homework to do, but we actually purchased the meat from Arena Brothers in Hopkinton, and then we, have a few $100s worth of meat that gets raffled off, and numbers are called every few minutes, and if we draw your ticket, then you win whatever meats we're displaying at the time. So it's, as I say, this is the fourth one coming up in November, the meat raffle, and then. Let's see, and then that's November 1st, and then the youth speech contest. Bill, maybe you might want to talk about this. I can tell the folks that the date for the upcoming youth speech contest that we sponsor every December is it's going to be December 2nd. I've got to mention first, I've got to thank HCAM, because we hold the contest in this very room every year. HCAM was nice enough to let us use their room to kind of between the parents and some of the spectators and the Lions, most of us Lions are usually here working in that particular event. But it's an annual contest that the Lions speech committee, they think of a topic, and the kids come in. Last year, I think we had a record amount of high school students, which range from grades 9 through 12. I think we had, I want to say, about 7 or 8 last year. And compared to like Holliston, Holliston's always like, well, how do you guys get that many students? But we had about 7 last year. And basically the contest, they progress. If the one who wins the winner of the local competition will advance to the zone level. And then eventually, I believe the zone level, and then there's another level, the district level. And then the finals are held at the
the Lions State Convention in February. That's usually been in Dedham at the Holiday Inn, I believe. But I'm trying to think of the title of this. Actually, I have it right here. The title of the topic of this.
Good.
You have it?
Yeah, well, if you have it there, yeah.
Right. Yep. The topic this year is what can past America teach future America?
Good subject.
Yeah.
And as Don mentioned, yes, we've been doing this for several years, and we're probably one of the more successful local clubs. Some clubs don't even do it, or maybe get like 1 or 2 contestants. Lately we've been getting up to 5 to 6 contestants, and it's a wonderful opportunity, to learn how to, speak, in front of people or whatever. And we usually have some, great topics such as the one here, and. It's just nice, and I'm really impressed with the quality of when the kids get up and speak in front of a small crowd here right in the studio, but they just do an unbelievable job, and it's always interesting their viewpoints on the different topics and what kind of critical thinking skills they have. So it's just a wonderful event, and it's not a fundraiser or anything like that, but it's just nice to get the kids involved, and it's also fun. The parents usually come and watch their kids, so it's a great event that we've been doing for several years now.
Well, we'll see how much they remember from their history classes, because the subject is what can past America.
Yeah.
See how much they remember from their history classes.
Yeah.
I was looking up a little bit about the history of the organization and where it started, just by curiosity. That the Lions Club started by a salesman in Chicago, Illinois, Melvin Jones.
Yeah.
And so he wanted to give back to the community and formed. I was wondering about the Lions Club, why he called it the Lions Club, but all I could find in Wikipedia was something about strength and courage, and he wanted the organization to represent that.
And I was going to say that the national logo that you see in many towns as you come across the border to another town is the logo, which is a lion's. The image, the way I understand it, is the image is there's one lion looking to the past and the other lion's looking the opposite way. So from the past, we're looking into the future.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why the lion is like that.
And the organization's over 100 years old. I think he started like just a local kind of thing, Association of Lions Clubs, in 1917.
Yeah.
And then in 1920, it went international. And finally, in 1958, I'm getting my dates right, he was recognized as the founder officially of the Lions organization. So thank you, Melvin,
Then,
for that.
Part of the history is, I think it was 3 years, they invited Helen Keller. She was kind of like the key speaker. And then from that, she challenged the Lions, because it was more like kind of like a Rotary Club type of thing, and it was just businessmen basically. But she challenged the Lions to become Knights for the Blind, and so we kind of did that. But we do all other services, hearing aids, etc. But one of our key things is Knights of the Blind, and we work very closely with Mass Lions Eye Research here. They get a lot of grants from the federal government, as far as improving eyesight and cataracts and all kinds of things, and it's amazing what they've done over the years, to prevent blindness.
Did you have some other events you wanted to mention, either of you?
Yeah.
It looks like a list you're still going through.
Yep. It was,
And I sidetracked you, but go ahead.
That's okay. Quite all right. Quite all right. Santa's Special Kids is another annual event that we do at the HCA. The Hopkinton Center for the Arts. We actually just pinpointed that date yesterday. It's going to be December 7th. And what is Santa Special Kids? It's really for the children who, let's say, are not really comfortable in a public setting with a lot of chaos and noise and so forth. They prefer that more quiet atmosphere. That's essentially what it is. We call it Santa Special Kids. Santa's there, and we give away holiday treats and stuff like that. And cocoa and muffins and stuff. And I'd say the last couple of years we've gotten a pretty good turnout. I'm not sure the exact number, but I think we got more than what we had anticipated getting. That's at the HCA this year. It's always been at most years it's been at the HCA. And I think it's around 1 or 2 o'clock. But if you go to our website, hopkintonlions.org, it'll have the date, December 7th, and the time down there.
I'm glad you mentioned the website. We'll put that up, hopefully in the credits, so
Okay.
that people watch the
Good.
show, they can be reminded of what the website is, because there's a lot of good information out there. I went out and looked myself. Talks about the organization, the things that you do around town, a little background. So yeah, good.
Yeah.
What else you got?
You want to talk a little about the yard sale or throw that there? You can talk about-
Yeah, sure. Let's see. So the yard sale, one of our Lions, Christine Curran, she kind of came at the same time as Don, but she's done a wonderful job with a community yard sale. She basically sets up a website where people can, their address, and then it also gives the kind of goods that they might be, selling at their yard sale. And I think we had about maybe around 30 families like last year. I don't remember the exact number, but it's on a Saturday. I think it's in May. But anyway, I went around to some of the locations over near where I live, off of Fruit Street, and it was amazing. In fact, there was someone that actually came all the way up from Rhode Island because someone had, I think it was an old sofa or table or something that they were interested in, or whatever. But yeah, Christine does a wonderful job, and we put signs around town, and with the technology, you can basically put it into your GPS, and it'll help locate the various location where it's at, and so it helps the community, and we make a little money with the registration fee, and of course that goes to some of our charitable programs too.
Before I forget, what is it that you're holding in your hand there?
Oh yeah. Oh, so this is a brochure we
Why
made.
don't you hand it over to Don? He can
Yeah.
give it to me, and I'll hold it up so the
Okay.
camera
Yeah.
kind of get into it.
Yeah. So it's a brochure, actually.
Where do you want me to go, folks? Okay.
Yeah, we can thank Christine for designing, the brochure and everything. So we try to, like, if we're at different events or whatever, we hand out the brochure. Of course, you can go online and find it, but some of the older people, they might not have access to it, so it kind of gives it a little thing of what we do, our objectives,
I see
some of the
that.
fundraisers we do, and all kinds of information, our website, and you can find us on
Information
Facebook.
about membership,
Yeah.
activities, history,
Yeah.
yeah, things you support. That's a nice brochure. Excellent.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
The Repair Cafe, I don't think we talked about that.
Oh, that's a good activity. Yeah,
Yeah.
talk about that one.
Yeah, that's a fairly new activity for us that we've typically been holding on Saturday mornings, and that's over at the Hopkinton Senior Center.
Yeah.
I actually haven't, I was there briefly for one event, but I wasn't able to stay long that day. But maybe Bill can talk more too. I know they sharpen knives. They'll do, like, I think, minor electrical repairs. Say they have a broken lamp or whatever.
Yeah, I can talk a little to that. So,
I can go ahead and I'll supplement because I've been at those.
Okay.
and we can thank our current president, Mike Tarsi. He was basically the one who worked with, I forget who it was, but to get the program going.
Maybe Amy. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a wonderful program. In fact, I think we had it several Saturdays ago, and of course, they repair buttons. In fact, I had a couple of sport coats or suits where I'm not very good with sewing on buttons. They did it, for free and a lot quicker than I could do it. But also, I had some knives and scissors. I brought them, and they sharpened them for me. And sometimes some minor repairs on electrical equipment, connecting the cords, and that's just a wonderful thing. The seniors, and it's great. And I take advantage of it. So
And let me tell you, it's free.
yeah,
I wasn't able to volunteer for the most recent one, but prior to that, I served as a Hopkinton Senior Center volunteer for the days of the repair fair. And you'd be amazed at what people would bring in. Kitchen cabinet cupboards that you needed the hinges on it.
Yeah.
People brought in a vacuum cleaner that needed repair, toasters, like you mentioned, the knife sharpening, lamp repairs, pretty much any little thing you have around the house. Clothing, like I had some pants hemmed for a senior citizen who couldn't make it over. I took them over for her, but they will do lots of things. So we're going to have to wrap up pretty soon, so I'm wondering if there's any last-minute things you want to share with us, and I'm going to read our closing then. Goes fast.
Let's see. Let's see. Oh, another thing, quickly, and of course this ties into the Friends of Hopkinton, is the Lions Club, we kind of sponsor, or we kind of run the dunk tank, and that's very popular, especially among the kids. And that's another thing where we got some students from the high school. They helped retrieve the balls if they missed the target or whatever. And it's a wonderful event, and we kind of work with the Friends of Hopkinton. Then we also do, I guess in the spring they call it a spring fling. Is that what we do?
The spring fling, yeah.
Yeah, and that we have some entertainment and some things, activities.
Well, I'm sure they can find out a lot of information on your website, but we're out of time. It goes by very quickly.
Yeah, okay.
But thank you both for being here, and to you and your organization for all the things you do to serve our community. Really appreciate it. And Hopkinton is fortunate to have an active Lions Club, even though maybe it's just a dozen or so folks right now. We're going to see if we can't increase that membership.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you to the viewers who tuned into this episode about All About Hopkinton. I invite you to visit again the Lions Club website, hopkintonlions.org, and consider joining or making a donation. I'm Mary Arnott, signing out until next time.